This episode of Popcorn Poops is brought to you by Audible.com. Please visit audibletrial.com/popcornpoops for a 30-day trial of their audiobook subscription service. When you sign up, you'll even receive a free audiobook that's yours to keep whether or not you continue with Audible after your trial has expired. That's audibletrial.com/popcornpoops for your free audiobook.
We are the Popcorn Poops. Welcome to Popcorn Poops, the best married couple movie podcast / commentary track hybrid audio program on the internet. My name is Dustin, and with me, as always, and per usual, is my wife, Jessica. Say hello, Jessica.
Hello.
How was your birthday?
It was a good birthday.
Did you get anything for your birthday?
Yeah, you got me Game of Thrones.
Yes, season 5.
The new Blu-ray, and you got me the second X-Files movie.
That's right, because it was cheap at the Big Lots.
So I guess we'll do that at some point.
I'm the best husband. Yes, we definitely will. We'll probably do like a sequel month or something like that, and we'll do the second X-Files movie because we watched the new season and kind of enjoyed that about like 40%.
About 40%.
About 35-40% of the new, and that's 6 episodes, so that's actually not that good. New season wasn't that good. No, it wasn't that good. but
there were a couple good episodes.
There were a couple good episodes.
It was enough to totally watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely in the future we'll be doing the second X-Files movie that neither one of us has actually seen. But
I've heard it's really bad.
But yeah. So looking forward to Billy Connolly being a pedophile. That's all I know about that movie is there's snow and Billy Connolly's a pedophile. So we have that to look forward to. As always, you can find us on our website at popcornpoops.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher. That's, of course, where you can get the show. And you can follow us on social media on Twitter at popcornpoops and also on Facebook. You can like our page. Our personal Twitter accounts are at DustyCramCram and...
I'm at J. Casper Kramer.
That's right. And social media is where you can find all the updates and announcements about the show, including our weekly movie still identification game, which is a whole hell of a lot of fun. So if you want to participate in that, please follow us on Facebook or Twitter. You can also shop for stuff on our website. We have like a few things in a little merch store, a little spreadshirt store. And if you want to show your poo pride, as we say, if you want to showcase your pooplingness, if you want to show the world how much of a good poopling you are, then you can wear something to dress yourself with. Because you don't want to go out into the world naked, so why not wear a shirt that says poop on it? You know,
right,
that's
yeah.
Ideal, really. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, you can just, throw us cold hard cash. If that's a thing that you're into. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different fetishes out there. We do have the internet that has kind of brought a lot of these to light. If one of yours is to give your money to strangers who, whether or not they really deserve it is totally arguable and debatable, we do have a donate button on the website. So you can kind of get your rocks off there if that's your thing. But, we're not judging. This month, of course, our theme is hashtag 1987 month in celebration of your birthday that just passed this week. And today we will be watching, I don't know why I did this. We're watching Jim Murrow's 1987, of course, film Street Trash. This is going to be an interesting episode, and we'll get into it shortly. If you would like to sync this podcast with the movie, as you can do with all of our episodes, you're going to want to go ahead and start the film and then press pause as soon as the title card reading Chaos Production Presents. When that cuts to black, as quick as you can, press pause and that'll sync you up to us. And we'll count down here in a second and get the movie started. But first, I believe we have a review.
Oh, we do.
To read from where'd it come from?
From Stitcher.
Okay, go ahead.
And the review is from Megafang King 23. And it says, funny, educating, and entertaining. This podcast will both entertain and teach you. The host is a married couple who have great chemistry and are very knowledgeable in the fields of writing, film, and the thematic arts. Furthermore, they are no slackers when it comes to researching the films they commentate on. Wait till you hear this one.
Oh, good. Great. Perfect episode, Megafang.
There is always a piece of juicy, obscure trivia they share about the movies they base their episodes on. Poop may be in the title, but the content is far from it.
Oh, that's very clever.
It is clever, but my favorite thing about this review is the use of the Oxford comma.
Not the fact that it is a 5-star review?
Well, also, that's fantastic.
Top two aspects of this review. 5 stars, Oxford comma.
Yeah.
You nailed it, Megafang King 23. And thank you very much for that review. If you would like to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, we will read it on the show, even if it's not a 5-star review.
Even if it doesn't have the Oxford comma.
Even if you really? Well, it might sound funny if it doesn't have the Oxford comma.
I won't know where to pause.
Yes, exactly. You know. So anyway, so for breakfast this morning, I had bacon, eggs, and toast. Right? Your name is Eggs and Toast? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oxford. Bacon, eggs, and toast. There we go.
Right,
See, and that's the importance of the Oxford comma. If you would like to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, we will read it on the show, even if it's not a 5-star review, but we really like the 5 stars. So keep that in mind, but also be honest, because that's the most important thing in life.
Is it?
Let's start.
I thought it was giving money to strangers.
Oh, there's also that, but only if it gives you a very solid erection. Let's start this fucking movie, okay? Sinkers, press play at the beep after the countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Street Trash. Look at there it is. There it is. There's the title.
Can I ask you why you picked this movie for my birthday month? As a present to me for my birthday?
It was not as a slight to you, even though I do appreciate the Evil Dead camera work that's going on right here. This movie does have a bit of nice camera work, courtesy of Jim Murrow or James Murrow, the guy who directed this. It's the only feature film he's ever directed. He's got a bunch of credits as camera operator, especially Steadicam operator in Hollywood. There is a good amount of Steadicam in this movie. I don't know if I think he probably didn't operate his own Steadicam in this, but maybe he did. Who knows? But that's the thing he does.
So he's a good camera guy then.
Sure. Yeah, and he made a movie. So, yep. The camera work's good in this. The reason I picked this, to get back to that, the reason I picked Street Trash, well, okay.
Oh, look, the fart in the face. Gosh.
The farts kind of slow down. We get a few farts, and if you listen, I think that's actually part of the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah? The fart is part of the soundtrack?
They incorporate the fart into the soundtrack so that it kind of becomes diegetic, as music does, like incidental music. These are incidental farts.
Incidental farts. That's probably the best adjective for a fart that I've ever heard.
I have a friend at work named Webb. This goes out to Webb. This is dedicated to you, Webb Wright, if you're listening to this. He's the reason that I picked this movie. I talked to him about all the shitty movies that you and I watch,
I mean, we watch a lot of them.
We watch a lot of shitty movies.
Intentionally. Like it's our choice to do so.
And one day he asked me, and honest to God, I had never heard of this movie until one day he mentions this movie Street Trash to me. And he's like, oh, you've never heard of this? It's terrible. It's awful. It's like there's all this terrible shit in it. It's so offensive, like intentionally so. I'm like, man, I look it up. And sure enough, all these things he's saying about this movie are true. And I'm like, I've got to see this thing. This is like, this seems like the ultimate garbage 80s schlock fest.
No pun intended, right, with the garbage.
No, well, right, there you go. See? You know comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're a regular Abbott and or Costello, I guess.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'd never actually seen this movie until I just decided. I said, we're going to do this on the show, even though I've never seen it before. And then we watched it, and I immediately thought, this is not going to make a very good episode. So I'm apologizing.
Oh, boobs.
I'm apologizing right at the top. Yeah, we've got some right here. We're in the first 3 minutes of the movie, and we've got boobs, pussy. Bush, dick. We got a dick coming down, flopping down the stairs here.
Dick.
Yeah. And it kind of I would say that at least primes you for the kind of movie that you're getting into
Even if I was
bit.
running out of a burning building, I would probably find pants.
I'd try to.
I'd at least try to find pants.
What if your pants were on fire?
Well, then I wouldn't have pants. But their pants were not on fire. That room was not on fire.
Chances are, if your pants were on fire, you were lying to someone. Right?
Anyways,
because liar.
Yeah, so
liar.
First 5 minutes in the movie, we've got a fart in the face.
Yeah,
we've got...
We sure do.
I mean, that's not even 5 minutes. That's 30 seconds into the movie.
Oh, we got a fart in the face. We've got boobs.
An
bush,
overweight man farts into a homeless man's face.
Yeah, at least the nudity is kind of egalitarian. There's an
Oh
egalitarian.
no, I
approach to
totally
nudity.
Nudity does not bother me.
It doesn't bother me
whatsoever,
at all. But
and I prefer it when it's egalitarian
Sure.
nudity. So
sure, but yeah, this movie kind of makes a victim of everybody, doesn't it?
it does.
It certainly does. I would say that the screenwriter of this, what is his name? Dear sweet Roy Frumkus.
I mean, if we were being real, though, and we were saying, like, this movie makes a victim of everyone, then we probably would need to have a guy who's gang raped to death in the movie.
Right. Well, okay, and that's what I was just about to say. The writer of this, Roy Frumkus, said that he wrote this to, quote, democratically offend every group on the planet. And my comment to that after watching this is every group except white men?
You say that, but I mean, most of the characters in this movie are white men, and they are all horrible people.
That's true. But I think that's only by virtue of the fact that it's heavy with white male actors. And anybody who's not a white male actor gets absolutely shit on in the movie. Like, absolutely shit on. Like, not that there's not a couple of, like, one or two white male actors here or there that get terrible shit that happens to
they all
them.
get shit on too. They get their dicks chopped off. They get.
It's a math problem, though. It's a math problem. If you think about it, and I don't want to make this, political. We're talking about fucking street trash, okay? So I just feel like this movie, my biggest problem with this movie, and we will get into it, is that it is not just joyful, fun schlock. It's mean.
Well, and the director, is that who you said that he was trying to offend everybody?
No, the writer.
The writer.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, they really don't offend everybody. They offend women in general. They offend African Americans specifically, and perhaps Asian Americans.
Oh, definitely Asian Americans.
No. But I'm trying to say, like, I mean, but that's it though. Right?
Right. As far as, like,
and possibly, I mean, we could say they're offending white men too.
If we're talking about
also horrible things happen to them.
who is pointedly and specifically victimized throughout the film, you're talking about individual groups that get called out. You're talking about
and I'm just saying there are a lot of other groups besides those three.
Oh yeah. Oh, right. Well,
right.
So that's what you're saying. Oh, I get what you're getting at. The writer did a poor job of offending every group on the planet because he didn't represent enough groups and shit upon them.
Right. No, but I'm saying really though, because you're saying you're trying to offend everybody, and I'm like, no, actually, you just offended these three groups. Like, right. So
okay. Right on. But yeah, I would say that the people who are the worst people in this movie are without a doubt white men, definitely.
Right.
But I don't think that they get shit upon as much as the other groups kind of.
I mean, if you're making a point though, I mean, they're the ones who do horrible things to all the other groups in the movie. So, it's kind of
I guess it's true that
true
it's true
reality.
To life. I don't know. This movie is the opposite of. This movie is not trying to be political whatsoever. There are moments in the movie when I'm like, is it trying to say something about, like, homelessness? Is it trying to make a point?
But I don't think so.
About how society victimizes people who are homeless, and is it saying something about veterans? I don't know.
I was thinking that at first in the movie. I thought that's where this was going. I thought it was kind of like a risque art project kind of thing. But then by the end, when we've got dicks flying around and stuff, I'm just like,
Jesus.
no, it's just stupid. It's just a stupid movie. I will say though, this movie did give acting credits to a number of disabled actors, which is really cool.
That is true, but we did.
But in
there
an
was
exploitative kind of way.
Absolutely, it's exploitative because you've got this, and specifically in this, like, I guess it's a dolly shot. There's this kind of dolly shot that goes along the sidewalk as our main character Fred is walking down the sidewalk, and you see some people with some deformities and some disabilities and things like that. And it immediately called to mind, the type of exploitation that you'd see in, for example, Todd Browning's Freaks from 1932.
Well, what came to my mind was I'm very far behind in most TV. The way I watch TV is that I never watch it when it's actually on. I just wait until. And isn't that what everybody does now? Everybody just waits till it's on Netflix.
Marathon, yeah, for sure.
I don't like to have to wait for a whole season. I just want to watch it right then. So when I feel like going back to it, I go back to American Horror Story, which I've tried to get you to watch with me, and you just hate too much. So I can deal with what I hate of it.
It is so try hard. I'm sorry.
We won't get into all of that.
You got me to watch
now.
the first episode of Covenant.
Well, because everybody said it was the best one. Yeah,
I watched the
Coven
first
one.
episode of that, and I was just everything about it screamed try hard. The writing, camera
it is
work,
try hard, but
the performances, everything.
For a girl who likes horror, there just aren't that many options of horror TV shows out there specifically. So. Anyways,
Walking Dead is boring as shit.
Yeah, we keep stopping and starting.
Oh yeah,
on that show.
we have watched every season. We've watched the up to the third season, right? Third or fourth? Did we get through? But every single season we've stopped precisely halfway through and just stopped watching it for like months and months, and then said, "We got to power through this season to get to the next one. Maybe the next season's better." Nope.
Anyways, back to American Horror Story, which is what I was trying to talk about, was that I just started the Freaks. Is that what it's called? Freaks? Or
I guess
whatever the
Freaks
circus. The carnival one. And I just started that season, and I had the same kind of thought as I had while I was watching this, where I was like, oh wow, so I guess they actually did employ some people who are disabled or have deformities or whatever. But then I thought about it and I was like, but it's a season about fucking freak
it's
show.
Exploitation.
So,
like you're talking about, like, oh, how good of them to employ people that can't get employed any other way because they're just deformed. So we'll exploit their deformities like that. I don't know.
And not that, but I do have a problem with it because not that there isn't a play. It's not like freak shows aren't for real. It's not like that shit didn't and doesn't still really exist.
Of course.
So there is a place and a way to talk about those things and employ those people in ways that are talking about those things. But of course, American Horror Story is just one of those shows where it's like trying to be as risky as it possibly can be.
Of course, you can mention like the autonomy of the actors to make the decision to
absolutely.
You absolutely can, but at the same time, you
just
also
like it's a woman's choice to go on screen and show her bush for no reason.
Right, exactly. But you also have to consider what opportunities do they have outside of those that may make them feel like they're forced into exploiting themselves. Like, I don't know. I think it's the environment. I think it's the atmosphere of that type of employment and that type, that's just how it is.
But yeah, so this movie has a lot of that, and take it for what you will, I guess.
So we've got our first death coming up right here in the movie.
This is the best part of the movie. Not this scene specifically, but the storyline.
Yes, the Viper. So what is the drink called? It's called something...
Viper, I think
something
you're right.
Fly, Venafly Viper or something.
I don't remember the whole name.
And it's this liquor...
that this liquor store owner found in the basement of his shop.
And it had gone bad like 60 years ago
buried
or
into a wall. Yeah, and it had gone bad like forever ago, many decades ago. And he pulls it out and he's like, oh, a discount. I'll sell it for $1 a bottle. And of course, what we have right now going on is this fantastic melting scene.
And at this point in the movie, I look at this and I say,
beautiful.
Holy shit.
And he gets...
I've never seen Gore quite like this.
It's so colorful.
I've never seen Gore this colorful. And at this point, I'm in.
He's flushing himself into a toilet.
Yeah. He is, because he's melting, he is flushing himself down a toilet.
In an abandoned, torn down building, he was like sitting on the toilet not to poop,
and this
but
scene
to
right here
drink
is
the alcohol.
Is the poster for the
And this
movie.
Is cool too. The like rushing through the garbage
very Evil Dead.
Up to the toilet.
It's
awesome face in the toilet coming out, rubber,
and his fucking hand face, like wrapped around the flush chain.
Very cool.
Very cool.
And that part of the movie, it's really hard for me because it's like on one hand I'm just like, I don't want to watch this movie. This is stupid. if it's trying to say something, it's trying to say something obviously in that kind of way that I hate when people are trying to be artsy, when they're trying to be like, I'm doing something on the edge to point out this whatever. And you're just like, no, you're just making a bad movie that's boring. And most of this movie, I think, is boring and bad. But then there are these moments in this movie where we've got some really fantastic gore.
Oh yeah.
It's just not enough of the movie though.
I haven't seen the short film that this is based on, but apparently there was a short film that Jim Murrow made, and I would assume that the short film is just about the Viper liquor, because everything else in this movie that doesn't have anything to do with the Viper liquor feels completely like filler and padding.
This whole relationship right here.
Okay, so you've got this storyline here between this woman, Wendy, who works in a junkyard, and there are a couple of homeless brothers, one of which is Fred that we met already, and then his brother, I don't know this character's name, but it's in my notes somewhere. And Wendy and this kid have a sort of like, she's not his mother, but it's kind of a mother-son type relationship. She's kind of a surrogate
Except that then
parent.
She decides to fuck him.
She's kind of a foster parent, but then, they even in the movie, they mention Oedipus. They mention this Oedipal thing that's kind of happening between them. And then eventually she does decide to fuck him, but yeah, it's another ploy in the movie to establish something so that then they can turn around and try to offend the audience with it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fine, but I don't find, again, we've already mentioned Game of Thrones in this episode. We watch fucking Game of Thrones. We live in the world where you can turn on your TV and see a brother and a sister fucking doggy style.
Right. Yeah. Repeatedly.
Straight up. So that doesn't really
if you turn on to the right
much.
episode, you can watch a brother raping a sister, which is just great.
Yeah. Wonderful.
But
anyway.
the point is that like at this point, going back and watching this thing where you're not really quite sure how old she is, you're not really quite sure how old the kid is.
One thing's for sure, when she takes off his shirt later in the movie, that kid can't grow a body hair below the nose. That is very clear.
And so there definitely is that like, he's maybe a little too young for her. And then like all the comments about the fact that she's mothering him. So like, yeah, it's gross, but at the same time, is it really that big of a deal? Because I mean, maybe he's probably over 18 and she's not that old. She's got to be in her 20s.
Now that I think about it, like I know that they don't really go for it in this, like, because the age thing is a little ambiguous, but that's the one thing, the one big thing they don't really go for in this movie is just pedophilia.
Yeah, true.
But I think that they're trying
with this, but it's not obvious enough because we have no context for how old these people are.
They don't go for like straight up incest. They don't do any, I mean, and for the time, they even have some like some homosexual slurs, like some in this movie, but they don't really go for anything that's like shocking, like, oh, look at these gay people having sex.
Yeah, which you would expect from a movie
in 1987. It's like, look how shocking and crazy this is.
I mean, instead what they do is they have this really overweight guy try to rape this Asian American woman.
And they play it for laughs.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be funny when he pretends to have a heart attack and die on top of her while trying to rape her. And that's supposed to be funny, haha. And it's just not. Like, instead it's just gross. And that's kind of how most of this movie feels, is it's like, this is just gross. Which I guess is his point. He wants you to be grossed out. He wants you to be offended by it. I'm not really offended, though. I think
this character, what's his name? Is his name Stinky or something like that?
He's a funny character, actually.
I like him.
I like him.
He's probably my favorite character.
Is he the only black guy in the movie?
No, the black guy that works in the grocery
the one
store.
at the grocery store, right? And they kind of pointed
Which
out, and
might
they have
be
that.
my favorite scene.
I think it's the most like thought out scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Later, this character is going to go to a grocery store and
it's the one scene that seems to actually be commenting on something real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the crux of the entire scene is that this guy's in the grocery store like shoplifting and stuffing his pants full of chicken and stuff.
Right, and he's putting raw chicken in his pants, and that's kind of funny.
And the manager's black, and he kind of accuses the manager of not siding with him because he's black too. And they're speaking obviously about, the movie is making an attempt at least at speaking about like success and wealth disparity within a race construct.
Right.
So that's real. So I don't know, I guess.
But I feel like most of the movie.
So when you say it's the most thought out, like it's the most thoughtful part of the movie, I think that you're probably right.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of stuff like this though, right? Where we've got
his name is Wizzy.
We've got this weird conversation between this one homeless guy and this guy who runs
Francis
the liquor
Ford
store.
Coppola looking motherfucker.
And there are just a lot of these pointless conversations like this where it's not funny, it's not saying anything important. It would be difficult to summarize the conversation even. It's just like they're talking about...
I mean, most of this movie doesn't have any narrative thrust.
Yeah.
The closest thing that there are two kind of narrative lines through the movie that don't really intersect until the very end. I guess three... kind of, and they're all based on relationships really. It's hard to say. It's like you've got the Viper thing, which isn't even really a story. It's just like whoever gets their hands on Viper and drinks it, they die. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Or maybe they're going to get it stolen from them and then that person will die.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty much how it goes. Or they'll drip on somebody.
Right. When they're
like this guy's about to do. And then there's the Bronson character, who's the Vietnam vet.
Bronson. Oh yeah, he's like the ringleader of the homeless guys who live in
the king of the junkyard, and he carries around a human bone that he's shaved down to like a shank or something. Very Mad Max kind of character.
Yeah.
That's all I could think when I.
And then there's the cop whose storyline just ends because they're done with it.
Oh, that's right. There's the cop storyline
who's
just
like
sort
supposed
of
to be. I mean, and they go to all the trouble to like tell you his backstory and stuff, and like where he moved from and whatever.
And then there's kind of Fred and his brother, but I didn't really get. I didn't even know that they were brothers till like the very end of the movie.
Those are the two homeless guys who live in the tire house. Who the Asian American woman Wendy,
is like kind of raising
mothering.
Or taking mothering.
But I mean, the older brother's
one.
like way like he's definitely her age, if not older than her. It's weird.
I don't know. And then you've got their story. Wendy.
Oh, here's the cop.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed another good Gore moment too. We passed it by when they were doing the car wash. The homeless people were doing the car wash at the stoplights. Like every time people would pull up to stop. Yeah, every time people would pull up to stop at the stoplight, the homeless people would come out and start washing the cars, I guess in hopes of getting some kind of tip. And Bronson comes over, who's the like ringleader of the junkyard. He comes over and starts not washing the car, just kind of touching stuff on it, and the passenger girl starts freaking out about he's touching the car, and the driver tries to be nice to Bronson and says something about getting to shoot guns like you guys got to shoot, I guess referring to it has to be Vietnam.
Yeah. I guess so, yeah.
I mean, what else could it be at that point?
It could be the Korean War, but I think it's Vietnam.
Just the way Bronson looks, it feels like it's a reference. And when we get the flashbacks and stuff, that feels like Vietnam flashbacks. And so Bronson, like, I don't know, bashes the guy's head through the windshield and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice and gory.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. There is definitely, and I said
Here's
this before.
Another good melting moment.
There is definitely a joy to the violence in this movie, to the gore specifically. You just don't see like this crazy Technicolor gore. You just don't.
And it is Technicolor. Like this guy who's melting right now is melting yellow.
So the guy that just got dripped on, that is the screenwriter and the producer, Roy Frumkus. But yeah, so he gets dripped on and he dies. And that's the thing. We have 2 kills at the top. Well, unless you count the guy that Bronson kills. We have 2 Viper deaths. Like the
2 Viper deaths and then 2 other kills right at the top. The car and then this guy right here. This guy dies.
So we've got this. And then there's just a drought.
Yep. For like the most of the movie.
Yeah, for like 45 minutes. For the next 45 minutes.
So enjoy your gore right now.
It's just a bunch of random shit that happens. It feels like honestly, it kind of feels like Richard Linklater's Slacker, which is, I don't mean to make that comparison. I don't mean to demean Richard Linklater's film at all by that comparison, but it does kind of feel like this movie takes place in vignettes where we follow one character for a little while and then they just kind of disappear, and it didn't really matter that we followed them at all. Like, it doesn't have any effect on the story. And then eventually characters end up coming back around. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like the cast of this movie is too big. Like, there are too many characters. There's too many things. They're trying to do too many things. And most of the things they're trying to do don't make sense or don't matter in any kind of significant way. They're mostly just setups to do something gross or shocking or terrible.
Right. So like that scene where we had the guy drink the Viper and then the Viper melts him. Awesome moment. He gets all gooey. There's a kitty sitting on the fire escape with him and the kitty runs away when he starts melting.
Right.
And then he drips through the fire escape onto some person walking beneath, and the guy gets it on his face, and I guess the goo is also acidic and starts melting his face.
Alien rules.
And the guy runs off, and all these people follow him as he like collapses on the ground and his face is melting off. And the cop guy who we're gonna follow around comes over, and he starts like saying, this woman's standing there going, "Why aren't you helping him? Why aren't you helping?" And he's like, "Lady, I can only take one person at a time." And she's like, "Because he's male?" Because some other guy was trying to talk to him because he was male, I guess.
Oh,
so she like accuses him of sexism, I guess. And then she says, "You're the type to pull me over just so you can rape me." Or something like that out of the blue. Yeah. And he's like, "Baby, I assume you don't have a cunt." And it's just like, what is this conversation? And this is all happening while the guy's face is melting. And you're like, this is very weird. There is a feeling to this movie that is almost fantasy.
It does feel...
or sci-fi or something.
Yeah, it does feel weirdly kind of recently apocalyptic. Like, as far as like post-apocalyptic is concerned, like recently apocalyptic, like something terrible has happened and
people just don't care as much. Like, law doesn't work the same.
We have a police officer who is maybe the worst police officer.
I mean, he's standing there. He's standing there while the guy's face is melting and is just talking to the people around him like, who did this? Like, what? Did you see anything? And it's like, what? This isn't law. My brain can't process this. My brain is sitting there going, there's a person whose face is melting who's still alive. You're the cop. You help the person whose face is melting who's still alive. And like, the laws of this world aren't like that. They just have a conversation next to him instead that turns into accusations about rape and stuff.
I like that. There was a little physical performance there where Bronson throws that old guy down on the ground and he just kind of backs up and like puts his feet up and starts twiddling his thumbs like, I didn't do nothing. Nice little performance there. But yeah, Bronson's an asshole, a super asshole, and you know, I don't have a problem with, and this is something that I think we've talked about on the show before. How can you tell the difference between whether your movie is misogynistic or whether a character in your movie is misogynistic? Right. Bronson is obviously a misogynist. He beats the woman that he is, I guess, committed to, or whatever.
But I mean, the thing is that most of the characters are misogynists in this movie, if not all of them.
Exactly. Like,
so that's where you start.
I don't think there's a single character in this movie that isn't a reprehensible human being. I don't think anyone has a moral compass, and that could be the point. But there's also this weirdness around how the movie frames certain events that happen to certain characters. The violence against women in this movie is particularly... Actually, I was talking to Webb, who is the reason that we're
Thanks, Webb.
Thanks, Webb. Appreciate it. The reason we're watching this. And the thing I was telling him was, you've got a scene later in the movie where it's kind of apparently an infamous scene, like a scene that was cut out of like international versions of the movie, where a guy is pissing and I guess it's Bronson, cuts off his dick and they start throwing the penis around.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, that's sexual violence toward men. Well, think about how that moment's framed, and we'll see it here in a little bit. There's like Benny Hill style music playing.
Yeah.
Like yakety sax while they're tossing this penis around. Compare that to the scene, probably the worst scene and the hardest scene to watch for me in the movie, and that's the scene where this drunk woman gets dragged away.
Goes home with this guy right here.
Goes home with Fred
the older
here
brother.
to the tire house, and she's too drunk to know who she's with, and she is horny and wants to have sex, so he takes her back to have sex with her, and he gets knocked out or he falls over, and all of these homeless people kind of crowd around the house like zombies. Mm-hmm. And they drag her out and take her away to be raped to death.
Right.
There's no yakety sax.
And if that's not bad enough, then the guy who owns the junkyard later finds her and rapes her corpse.
Yes. And there's no yakety sax there. There's no joy to that scene. It is framed like a horror movie.
Right.
That's how it's shot.
Yeah, they look like zombies.
The stark lighting, the high contrast. They look like zombies. They act like zombies. They pull her out and drag her off into the night to gang rape her. And the next time we see her, she's dead. And she is immediately fucked by the guy that runs this junkyard. Her corpse is. Like, it is the specifically the way that violence against women is framed in this movie is troubling. It's truly troubling, and it's different than how violence against men is framed.
Yeah, I
in this
think
movie.
so.
Very
I think
different.
so too. I think it is framed differently. And like I said, so there's your one scene in the movie where the penis gets cut off, and it's by a crazy person. I don't think there's any other specific violence against men as a gender, or as a sex or whatever. It's specifically against women by multiple characters, whereas I know lots of horrible things happen to men in this movie, but it's generally
horrible things happen to everybody.
It's generally because they drink, acidic alcohol that melts their body.
The toxic shit, whatever it is. Yeah.
Anyways, we're at the scene that is, I think, probably the most thought out scene in the movie. I want to say thoughtful, but that sounds too smart,
too complimentary.
They thought about this scene before they wrote it, is really what I'm trying to say. And what it was is the younger brother got some cash because he was, I don't know, he did something, and this guy, what's his name, Stinky?
Wizzy, I think. Wizzy,
I don't remember.
I think it's
any
Wizzy.
of the characters' names. The black homeless man in the movie, he takes the $3 that the kid got, and he's like, I can get us a big meal of fried chicken and stuff off of this. And they're like, no, you can't. How are you going to do that with $3? And he's like, watch me. And he goes to the grocery store, and I guess he just pockets the $3 and he steals all this food. And of course, an old lady sees him and goes to tattle.
And goes to get the manager, who's walking up right now. And they have a little dialogue here. And I think this is probably my favorite. Like, besides the gore scenes, like the death scenes.
Right, yeah.
Like, as far as like a scene of dialogue in the movie, this is probably my favorite one.
And there's chicken falling out of his pants. Raw chicken is coming out of his pants.
There's chicken in his pants, and I don't know what the line is. He's about to say it, but like, he tries to get away with it because before he walked into the store, he picked up a receipt off the ground.
Right.
And he hands him the receipt here in a minute to prove. He's like, well, I've already paid for this stuff. Here, look at my receipt. He's about to pull it out right now. And the guy's like, this receipt is for dog food, and that's chicken coming out of your pants.
Yeah. So
it kind of helps that the delivery's not that good. It's just very deadpan. It's like, that is chicken coming out of your pants.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I like this character altogether. I like his gas mask that he wears all over the time.
Yeah, I like
over
it
the place. That it's just I feel like
does he survive the movie?
He gets beat up at the end.
He
He
does get
almost
beat up
drinks
at
the
the end.
Viper, but he doesn't. I think he does
I think
survive
he does
the movie.
survive. I think he does survive.
I think he does.
Good. Long live Wizzy.
Yeah, because I was worried he was going to die when we were watching. I was like, man, they put effort into this character and they're going to kill him off.
He's awesome.
Most of the other characters, the amount of effort is just what they look like. It's just like, oh, this guy's really fat, and that's his character.
Let's see, some stray notes from before that I missed. I talked about the Evil Dead camera work. I did want to ask, do you think that a fart counts as the first line of dialogue? Does that count? Can we chalk this up as like the only film ever made that the first line of dialogue is a fart?
I don't think farting is talking. So, no, I don't think a fart
that's a debate. That's a debate topic.
counts as. Do you think that a fart counts as dialogue?
That is going to be a debate topic for Popcorn Poops Debate Edition.
When you work on a screenplay, do you like type out the fart like as like
Yes.
next to the character's name?
It's spelled P P P P P P F F F F F F F P P P T T T T T T T exclamation point. Right? That's
sure.
That's how you spell a fart
In dialogue.
in dialogue. Yes.
Because a fart is spelled A-F-A-R-T.
So this movie totally counts as an exploitation film. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an exploitation film. I just wish it was a better one.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But I mean, really though, like it's really hard because we often have the conversation because we watch a lot of bad movies. So this is a conversation that comes up a lot when you have bad movies to watch. As we often have the conversation about what were the goals of the film and did the film reach those goals? I mean, really, when you're critiquing art, any art, not just films, but any art, you kind of have to consider that. That's like, what were the goals of Twilight? The goals of Twilight were to get a bunch of preteen girls to be really horny about vampires and never really show any sex or anything like that. Like, those were the goals of Twilight, to just play the hot and bothered as long as you possibly can. And did it succeed in those goals? I mean, it made a fuck ton of money, so I guess so. Because everything else comes down to personal opinion.
I just want to ask, so we've got a coroner here. We're talking to the coroner and the police officer who are investigating the deaths, and the coroner's eating.
Of course.
On the job.
Right. Next to the corpse.
That's a trope now, right?
Oh, yeah. But was it in 87? Maybe not. Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet.
But yeah, now if you write your coroner scene and you have them eating something,
I mean, that's something that you see in X-Files. That's the
yes,
second time
yes.
X-Files has come up.
Yeah.
There
are some episodes.
There are some characters
where Scully will eat something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought she wouldn't. I thought she would like be with someone who did, and she's just like, I don't know how.
No, there's an episode I'm distinctly remembering. I can't remember the name of it. I'm a bad X-Files geek. But there's an episode. It's one of my favorite ones too. It's really funny. It's like the two of them are telling a story about something that happened, but they both tell it very differently, and it's just fantastic writing. And I think it's in that episode where she's really hungry and she's got some pizza, and I think she's eating pizza while she's doing an autopsy, or at least in the same room with it, or it's after. Somehow food is associated with it. But yeah, anyways, yeah, X-Files does it too. A lot of shows do it. I'm sure Supernatural's done it at some point. Where I think it is at the point where it's a trope. Yeah, to answer your question.
One of the things that I noticed about this movie, it is an exploitation film. I feel like it counts as an exploitation film, but I feel like it's more in that realm of trauma exploitation than it is like the Grindhouse era.
Oh yeah.
The heyday of
this feels like a trauma with money.
Oh, look at that shot right there. That's a great shot of the light coming out of the car and the tire hut. Yeah. The camera work in this is good. Like, I think this is a good looking movie. The production design is good. I feel like the crew who worked on this,
the sets are good.
The sets are good. I feel like the people who worked on this were very technically minded. You've got a very technically impressive movie right here. You know, you've got these little subtle camera movements. Why move the camera in a space this small? Why do that? But they're doing it.
Right.
I don't know. There's stuff like that you can tell, like when the fact that this was directed by a guy who spent his entire career as a camera operator and a Steadicam operator. He's a technically minded guy. That's what he does. That's what he does. So naturally, the movie is kind of technically impressive.
But as we talk about often, for me, a movie can look great, it can sound great, it can have great acting. But
this movie doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But if the script isn't there, if the writing isn't good, then for me it's hard to ever say it's a good movie unless I'm watching it because I want it to be bad, which we do very frequently. And this is a case where I just feel like it hits that boring factor. Which is the greatest sin in a horror movie or in any kind of exploitation movie or something.
Slump right here. Like, no one's gonna die for.
Yeah, they're eating fucking dinner. Like, okay, I know you said you were gonna eat dinner, and
there's candlelight, so it's nice, right?
And they drink some nasty piss thing out of a container. I mean.
They're talking about the cop. They're talking about how he's looking for. Well, they're talking about the cop because he's kind of in their neck of the woods now because he's investigating this murder or these murders, and he's already
the Viper stuff. I guess he's investigating.
Yeah, and he's caught. He's apparently popped Wizzy like how many times did he say? Like 60-something times already, which is a pretty funny line. Yeah, the next death in this movie is the gang rape. And then after that, I don't think we actually have a death until the Viper stuff pops back up. And
we'll have some deaths right here in the Vietnam flashback.
This is like a dream sequence that, I mean, again, look at this. Like, the sense of color in this movie is very strong, very impressive.
What does this take me back to? What is it? Is it House? That it's making me think of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we haven't actually covered. We did
Have
House.
we not done House?
We did House 2.
Oh, yeah, we did House 2 because House 2 is the superior of all the House films.
Yes, I believe we actually did House 2 like right at 1 year ago.
Yeah.
I think we did it last April. Pretty sure.
Probably because I probably picked it as a movie that I wanted to do because it's a fantastic movie and I love it. And if you haven't watched House 2, it doesn't matter if you've watched House 1 or not.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
House 3, which isn't really House 3. It's actually a movie called The Horror Show, but that's fine. And then there's House 4.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Also boring. Though House 4 is the one with the pizza face.
These vampires. So you've got like these Vietnamese vampires in this dream sequence that are like sucking his blood.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, all of this reminds me of the stuff from the first House, which is actually like, if I recall, it's actually like a good horror movie. Not like good, but it's like
I don't love it.
No, I don't love it either, but I like it a lot.
I don't love it like I love House 2.
No, but there is some good stuff, like the wife who comes back and is gigantic and.
You said the wife who? I thought you said waifu, and I'm like,
what?
Waifu? Who's your waifu in that movie? The weird soldier zombie?
Anyways, there's some fun stuff in that movie, and there are repeated returns to Vietnam. Yeah, I guess so. Another rape scene. We forgot. There's another rape in here.
Oh my God, there is.
Yeah, he frees her, and then he takes off his. I don't remember if he actually rapes her here or if he just prepares to.
He prepares to, and then there's like explosions in the background or something.
Yeah, and of course
he doesn't. Well,
of course
it looks to be appears to be consensual.
Well, of course it's consensual because she was rescued by him after she was probably raped by other people.
Yes, that's
so the first thing that she's going to want to do is have sex with her rescuer.
Take notes, neckbeards. That's how rescue tokens work.
That is rescue tokens.
You put the rescue tokens in, and the pussy pops out.
It's true.
That's how it works.
What have we watched recently where?
Oh my God, we've said that in a couple of movies.
Yeah, I know. We talk about the rescue tokens all the time.
I do, and I want to say that there are parts of this movie, and it's like the first part of this movie until it really slowed down, and before it got really, really just mean spirited, and it gets there. It gets fucking mean. I wanted to say that I was enjoying the movie, but the thing that I can't help, I can't shake about this movie is that I know that it's the exact kind of movie that, you know, people who decry political correctness, they would love the shit out of this precisely because it's trying to be provocative. Because it's trying to.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's intentional racism and misogyny all over this fucking thing.
Right.
Not to mention just the despicable acts that happen just on top. But at the same time, it's like you cut off a dude's dick and toss it around to Benny Hill music, and that's more slapstick than it is victimization, right? It's about, again, it's about the framing.
Whereas here we've got a woman who is so drunk she's puking behind a building, and he walks her home to rape her, because it is rape,
yes,
what he does.
Right.
Whether
he doesn't actually end up raping her.
Huh?
He doesn't actually end up raping her.
Yes, he does.
I don't think he does he? Oh, I guess they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He has sex with her. I mean, she acts like she wants it the whole time, but again, she's completely drunk and doesn't know who he is, so. What about this storyline? We haven't talked about this. I guess this is where it comes up with this mafia guy.
Okay, so this actor right here, he's an actor named James Lawrence, who some of you might recognize if you're into shitty movies like B movies. You might recognize him from Frankenhooker.
You're talking about the doorman.
Yeah, the
right?
doorman here. The actor's name is James Lawrence, and he's probably made his most famous turn in Frankenhooker, the great Frank Henenlotter film. And I believe that his entire part in this movie is improvised.
You think so?
Because these scenes just go on
forever.
Fucking ever.
Yeah.
They are interminable.
The writer thought these were so funny.
I don't know that there's any writing behind this. I think that he just rambles and rambles and rambles.
Somebody thought it was funny.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that this is all improvised, and it's just, it never ends.
Yeah. So, well, explain what it is, though. Explain what's going on.
So the doorman, basically the doorman sees Fred take the drunk woman out from behind the alley and doesn't really do anything about it. He just sees her walk by, and then apparently the woman's husband, who's kind of a tough guy, like a wise guy, like a mafioso.
He's the owner of the restaurant, right?
Okay, yeah, but he's got that kind of
like
New York
a
Italian mafia thing going on. And he comes out and he accuses the doorman of not, doing anything about his wife or his girlfriend or whoever who was just taken away. And he accuses him of, basically being responsible and not taking responsibility for that. That's the thrust of that entire story. And we come back to them a few times. They have like 3 or 4 scenes in the movie, including the final scene of the movie. Mm-hmm. And every scene that we come back to, it's just them arguing. And the doorman
and talking really fast,
just doing real fast talking wise guy kind of shit. It's like, you fucking didn't watch my wife and now she's dead and blah blah blah. And it's like,
well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
I wasn't even around that, so I didn't even see. That's the whole thing. They just keep going back and forth, talking about essentially nothing.
Yeah.
It's insubstantial dialogue. So that's what makes me think it's improvised, and it's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
So,
but somebody thought it was good because they do it so many times in this movie. Yeah, and here's the part. Fred is taking the drunk woman home to his tire house, to have sex with her, and all of the other homeless people in the junkyard are like, there's like fog machines here. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a horror movie. They're coming out from in between the cars and stuff. They're sneaking around. They look like zombies. As they're coming to...
You can listen to the score. You can hear it in the score, like the low rumbling score. This
it's shot
is
like a horror movie right here.
Yeah.
And there are other moments in this movie that are shot like a horror movie too, but we're talking about specifically the rape scene and then the gang rape.
I mean, I think that
scene.
this movie you could count this as body horror, if only for like the Viper storyline. And I think that people do consider this to be a body horror movie, but I don't know. There's just not. What other kind of horror would you call this? Just.
I don't know that I'd call this movie horror though. I mean, there is horror in the movie, but I don't feel like that's the point of this movie.
I feel like this is. I don't know. It's comedy, obviously.
Comedy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just I feel like it's trying to be more artsy or something than it is.
What?
I think it is. I think it's trying to make like an exploitative artsy kind of statement where it's talking about homelessness or it's talking about whatever.
Exploitation is a genre.
Right.
So like if it's not horror and it's not really comedy, I feel like there is intentional. This is supposed to be intentionally comedic, and I feel like that this movie does try really, really hard.
There's a Ouija board there.
Yeah. I feel like this movie does try really, really hard to shock the audience, obviously. And there's just too much going on in this movie, and we'll see this especially that it'll pick up after this terrible shit. But there's a lot of time between story beats before we pick up with story beats and kind of get the next piece of each individual story. To consider this kind of successful by any metric at all, I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. I think that the movie is really, truly a bad movie. It's a badly written, badly constructed film. And I don't think it's in like that Room kind of way either.
No.
I think it's more like Sharknado. And I said this to you the other night, and
I don't know about more like Sharknado.
No, of course it doesn't feel like Sharknado, but what I'm saying is that with Sharknado, they are trying to make a terrible movie.
I don't think they're trying to make a terrible movie here, though. I think they're trying to be shocking, and I think they're trying to do ridiculous stuff like cut off penises and throw them around. But I don't think it's in the effort of trying to make a terrible movie that they're doing that. When they throw sharks around a tornado in a movie like Sharknado, then it's because they're trying to be a bad movie.
No, they're playing in excess. That's what they're doing. Is they're trying to be excessive.
But I think that this one is playing in excess in order to make some kind of point about society or something.
Oh my God, no, it's not.
I think it is. You're rolling your eyes, and yeah, I think it's fucking stupid too. But I think that's what this is going for.
We talked about this at the beginning of the movie. Like I thought for a while that this was, maybe this guy is named Wizzy.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, I think this guy is named Wizzy. Man, what's that other guy's name? Our favorite character.
Before we get too far from it, though, I wanted to talk about the rape scene a little more, the gang rape scene. I think part of rewatching it again right now and seeing
Bert, maybe Bert. I think it's Bert.
Part of what I think makes that scene so problematic, I guess is how I can say it, is the fact.
Nice Tumblr word.
Thanks. Is the fact that she is sort of framed as the cause for the gang rape to death because of the fact that she keeps saying more, please, I want more, again, please, more,
right.
Wanting to have sex again and wanting to have more sex. And so because she wants to have more sex, then she it's when she's saying that, while she's saying more please, that, well, she gets her more sex as they pull her through, right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you saying that just made me sick to my stomach.
Right, but I think that's part of why that scene is so, I mean, it's upsetting for multiple reasons, but why it stands out differently from the other hatred of other groups of people in the movie is because it's her fault, that how the movie is framing it. I mean, obviously not, but that's how the movie is framing it, is that the reason she's going to have more sex is because she asked for it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, I guess. Still terrible.
Right. No,
well, I mean
I'm
it's
saying
even
that
more
makes
terrible.
it more terrible.
Yeah, more terrible, yeah. In this scene right here, when Wizzy gets arrested, we have, I believe, what is the only trans character in the entire movie.
There are a couple of them here, though.
Couple of them, maybe. And I'm just surprised they don't get shit on from 8 Ways to Sunday.
Well, like you said, though, this movie doesn't even really attack the homosexual community at all.
No, not really.
So
aside from some,
I mean, there's
from slurs tossed out,
right,
here
some
and there.
slurs, but like we don't see anything happen to anybody or whatever, which is what happens to all the other two groups of people that they offend. I think that saying that you tried to offend everybody in this is stupid because Native Americans aren't specifically offended in this movie. People from Alaska aren't specifically offended in this movie.
We've already determined that it failed at that point. And that's, we've said this before. My metric for determining whether or not a movie is successful is, does it succeed at what it's trying to do, and then reconciling that with how much I personally enjoyed what it is doing and trying to do.
Right, because we kind of cut short on the discussion of this, but it's difficult. If I have learned anything about getting a master's degree in an art, it is impossible, you might even say, to fairly critique art.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you're talking about opinion. Everything comes down to personal preference, personal opinion. It's like I pose to my students in class sometimes when we talk about what is art. And I talk about psychotic people who, dismember their victims and then claim that it's art. And
Right.
it's like, is it art? Is it art? Is it art? They say it's art. It's art to someone, apparently, as fucked up as it is. So using that kind of word and evaluating
this
art,
shot right here was our hint, and no one got it. The shot of
why?
her
Well, hopefully
reaching
that's
for the
great
phone.
because it means no one watched this
Very
movie.
proud of you, Pooplings. Very proud.
Good job on
couldn't
not
be more
getting
proud.
this one.
Somebody listening out there was like, I knew it, but I didn't want to say anything.
But so yeah, like evaluating art is difficult. So instead, what I try to do is I try to evaluate the goals of the art, and then also talk about my personal preference. And that's the only thing I can do. And I think in the goals of this one, did it succeed in its goals? The difficulty is we aren't really sure what the goals were.
Well, I mean, I feel
It's
like
offensive.
I feel like you should add that into critiquing a movie. Is, are the goals clear? Number one. Number two, did the movie meet those goals? And number three, how much did you enjoy the pursuit of the movies meeting those goals? That it made clear what those goals were. I think it fails at the very first one. I'm not sure what the movie's goals are other than to be shocking and provocative.
But it is shocking and provocative,
It is shocking
so it
and-
succeeds in that.
It is shocking and provocative, but I mean, I consider like Lars von Trier's films are provocative. Lars von Trier makes provocative, thoughtful art films. This may be provocative, but I think it goes beyond provocative into just mean-spirited. And there's a difference, and there is a line. And once you cross from provocative and thoughtful,
I don't think you get to say there is a line for anything.
okay, there's a gray area. There's always a gray area. But I feel like this movie does very much cross over into the mean-spirited zone that makes this not fun to watch for me.
Oh, I don't think it's fun to watch at all.
I love...
Except for the scenes that are really awesome gore in this movie.
I mean, and I can't stress this enough. I love gross shit. I love gross shit. I think that pulling off really good gross out stuff. John Waters film. I love John Waters films. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. I love Lars von Trier movies. It's not that I can't handle provocative films.
Cronenberg.
Fuck, Cronenberg's my favorite filmmaker.
Yeah, we were just watching Videodrome last night.
Yes.
And it's super gross.
It's fucking amazing. This is not provocative. This is mean. And there's a difference. I don't enjoy watching this.
No, I don't enjoy watching it.
I mean, there's parts of it, obviously.
Again, I feel like the director might say that they didn't want you to enjoy watching it.
Okay? Well, and
that might be
that in mind,
one of the goals.
That in mind, did it succeed in its goals? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It's kind of like when people...
Did I enjoy that pursuit? No. Fuck no.
When people get on... we have found that it's sort of like the test for when we meet people to see if they're going to like the shit that we like, where we talk about Tim and Eric. And
that is such a great litmus test, especially for like sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like if you get Tim and Eric, then we can be friends.
Right. And so sometimes we'll meet a new couple or something and we'll be like, okay, they like horror movies, or okay, they like, they're into they like sci-fi right and whatever. And so then we'll be like, but do you think they'd like Tim and Eric? And then, either they have seen it or they haven't. Most of the time people just haven't seen it. And then when we show it to them, it's like we're waiting to see how they're going to respond. Because Tim and Eric is about understanding the goals of the people who are making it, right? And it's one of those cases where the goals are specifically to unsettle and make you feel awkward
to make your audience feel as awkward as possible.
As you possibly can. How long can we hold out this one note until people are just like, am I supposed to still be watching this? And so that for me is an example of like trying to upset your audience kind of, and that's the goal of it, and it's fantastically done. And this is a case of, I think, trying to upset your audience and just fucking it up, just ruining it. I mean, you upset your audience, but now no one's going to want to watch it.
And this is
here's the dick scene.
Famous. Can we say famous dick catching scene? Bronson has just cut the dick off of a poor man
who was
peeing, and now they're gonna toss his dick around with this jaunty tune playing in the background, and that's it. This goes into the pile of scenes that mean fucking nothing in this movie. Yeah. If you were to break up this movie into individual scenes and you were to create a pile that is narrative, meaningful to the narrative, any narrative in the movie, and not meaningful to the narrative in the movie, your not meaningful pile is way too big.
Way too big.
Way too. I don't know if I would say that it's more than 50%.
I don't know. It might be.
But it's probably close.
But there are so many. The other thing about it, though, is that you're talking about narrative, and you're talking about those, I always call them like through stories, right? Where you've got some element that's just carried out through the entire story. And there are so many of them that some of them start in the middle of the fucking movie. Like the one with the doorman guy.
Oh yeah.
And the mafia guy. That just started.
Yeah, and we're over an hour into this movie.
Right?
It starts like an hour in. Yeah.
So like you've got all these little, like, are we including that? Are we including all the stupid improv scenes where they're talking all mafia to each other? Like, are we gonna include that? I guess it's saying include that in the point, it takes place in the narrative.
The movie makes an attempt to tie all these things together by at least including one scene where characters cross over. So we've got, in the next scene that we see, the doorman and the mafioso.
With the cop.
They're with the cop that's kind of following this whole thing around.
But then we go back to them by themselves as though they were their own story, as though they were part of this movie.
It's like but they weren't.
It's one thing to have like minor characters that you bring up alone and then you bring them in with your major characters. Like that's one thing. But then to act like those minor characters have their own story when they don't. And great, yeah, have them have their own story. Develop your characters, flesh them out, please. Your audience will appreciate it. But they don't in this movie. They act like there's a story when there's not. They act like I care when I don't. You wanted to see these guys again, right? No, not really. That's okay. You could have just ended 15 minutes sooner. That would have been fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's part of, again, why I don't understand if this is a fantasy world or not. Here's a cop who basically just told other guys that he can't read.
Yes.
I don't understand this world.
Well, I mean,
is it post-apocalyptic?
I don't know. We are about to come up on a scene where the cop finds a hitman, and instead of arresting the hitman, he beats him up and then pukes on him.
That's right. He does
and walks away. He doesn't arrest him.
He beats him up and then sticks his finger down his throat so that he can puke on him. Mm-hmm.
I'm running out of things to say about this movie, and that was a problem that we knew we were going to have with this. There's only so many times you can say this movie's bad and pointless, and it's got some good gore, but not enough of it. Like it simply just doesn't have enough of the stuff that makes this worth watching.
I really think right now we're in the scene with the cop and the doorman guy, and the whole like gist of this scene is that the doorman's like saying really bad stuff about his mafia boss, because I guess he thinks the cop's going to protect him. And then at the end, the cop's like, I'm not going to protect you.
It's just like, I can't protect you of all hours of the day or something
and
like that.
Then, of course, when we come back to them at the end of the movie, it's the doorman tied up about to be tortured or killed by the mafia guy.
Something.
And that's their whole story. Isn't it funny? Didn't you love it? But yeah, I think what I wanted this to be was I just wanted it to be about Viper.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted it to be about. I wanted it to be in this weird sort of, is this a post-apocalyptic world? Like, what is this place with homeless people all over the place and just this poison getting passed around?
I love the Viper storyline so much. I like that element of the movie so much that I am tempted to buy the Blu-ray of this simply because
it
comes with a sticker.
Oh.
It's a label for Tenafly Viper, and you go buy a little thing of like dark liquor yourself, and you replace the label and you make your own.
Man.
And I want that on my shelf.
That's awesome.
That's how much I love the Viper storyline in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Viper storyline, and yeah, that's totally legitimate. How much is the Blu-ray?
We could probably get it for $10.
Okay, I mean that's worth it for the sticker.
I think so.
It's not worth it for the movie.
No, it's not. Although I would like to see the
penis in HD. In Blu-ray?
I do want to see the severed penis in 4K, actually. We should get the 4K, the Ultra HD. But yeah, I would like to probably see the special features on the DVD.
Do you think it has the short film? Because I would like to see the short film.
I'm not sure what all the special features are. I would imagine it does. If there are features on the effects in the movie, I would like to see that. That's the kind of stuff that I like in this movie. All of this other shit that we're watching right now that has nothing to do with Viper, it doesn't have any gore, it's just either boring or pointless or mean-spirited. I don't want to watch that shit. That's most of this movie. I haven't seen the short film, but I would throw a bet out there that the short film is much better than the feature-length movie.
I mean, but that's the whole thing we keep coming back to, is that the Viper storyline is cool, but I mean, we haven't said shit about it in a while, have we? Because it's not happening.
Yeah, where the fuck is Viper?
It happens at the very beginning of the movie where you've got this weird liquor that starts melting people, and it happens 2 times at the beginning of the movie. And then we just forget about it. And it's like, you guys really care about watching these homeless people rape people, right? You really care about that, right? You want to see the crazy Vietnam guy kill people, right? And I'm like, no, not really. No, actually, I don't. Actually, I don't care about any of that. I just wanted to see, I mean, I was watching this because it was going to be trash. No pun intended. And I was watching this because it was going to be trash and because I was going to get to see some gory deaths. And you just took all the gory deaths out of the whole meat of this movie. And it's going to be left until the very end of the film, where then we start getting another couple great melting scenes. Even though they sort of pull back on the end too. Remember one of them... The very last one, they don't even show us.
Oh, yeah. The one where the mafia boss
gets it.
Drinks the Viper. We don't get to see that one. Oh, God. The fight choreography so bad. So we've got the cop fighting the hitman. that went after
Fred.
Why did he go after
Because
Fred?
Fred raped that woman. He took her home from the
that's right.
place, and it was the girlfriend or the date or whatever of the mafia guy. I don't know how they found Fred or figured out that it was her.
Small town.
Whatever.
So the cop beats up the hitman in a terribly choreographed fight scene, takes him over to the urinal, and you think, oh, he's going to pee on him, right? Nope. He's going to puke on him. And then he just walks away, kicks him and walks away.
And flushes the urinal.
Is that justice? Is that how we define justice in this weird and possibly recently apocalyptic world?
And takes his gun.
Here's something that will surprise no one. The guy who plays Bronson, his name's Vic Noto, he was cast one day before principal photography commenced, and he did not know, this is a quote, "I didn't know what the hell I was doing, nor did I ever understand who Bronson was. I did scene by scene, not even knowing what the movie was about. I didn't read the script until 3 months after we wrapped.
Oh my God.
I still don't know who Bronson was." Street trash, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Is that how all the characters are? Is that how all the actors feel about this movie?
I don't yeah, no, yes.
It would make sense to me if they did.
I would venture to say, sure. Why not? Here's another piece of trivia that was on IMDb, and this is one that you see a lot in movies that are like especially dirty, but it says the word fuck is spoken 128 times in this movie.
Oh, I did not feel that if that's the case.
If that's the case, I didn't feel that, but at the same time, who fucking cares? That's
also that.
That's the kind of trivia that you hear about, like, oh, the South Park movie, they say fuck and variations on the word fuck so many times. Okay. How many times do they say variations on the word shit or damn or what? Like, who cares? There are at least 2 rapes in this movie, right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
Let's tally those, right?
And another attempted rape.
Right. That's substantial.
And then fucking a corpse.
Who cares how many times a movie has the word fuck in it?
How many times does our episode have the word fuck in it?
Oh my God. I'm sure that we've beaten that in an episode before. Maybe. I don't know about that. So the woman, and this is going to make this seem even worse, but the woman who played the woman who was gang raped to death, her name, or the actress's name, was Miriam Zucker. And she was apparently brutally attacked by thugs. This is thugs as in IMDb trivia. It says thugs. Brutally attacked by thugs in a New York City subway station several years before making this film. The attack left her partially deaf and with a large scar on her scalp. The scene where her character is attacked and gang raped by homeless men in the junkyard brought back feelings of fear and dread she felt during the incident.
Awesome. Good job, movie.
Wow.
Good job.
One of the guys, Mike Lackey, who's apparently also in the film, I don't know who he plays though. He created, Mike Lackey plays Fred, this guy right here. He made the penis.
Oh.
He made the prosthetic penis, and he made it in 3 different sizes. Mm-hmm. The little one, which he dubbed the pecker, the medium-sized one, which he dubbed the poker, and the big one, which he dubbed the packer.
The pecker, the poker, and the packer.
That's right.
Okay. Which one did they use for the movie?
Probably all of them. Probably for the wide shots, they used a bigger one so it would show up better on camera. I guess. I imagine for when he's actually peeing, it's a smaller one, and then when it's in the close-ups, it's probably the medium one. I'm not sure. This guy that plays the cop here, his name is Bill Chappell. He was a real New York City police officer before making this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Do you believe that? I mean, I have no reason not to.
I have no reason not to believe it. I mean, he doesn't seem like a real actor, so...
Well, he's certainly not an actor.
So, sure, he's a real cop.
I'd like to ask him if he ever puked on someone in line of duty.
Have you ever puked on someone in line of duty? How about this? We haven't talked about this weird relationship.
Oh, the relationship between Bronson and
his woman who only wears
junkyard wench.
Panties.
What would you call her?
Junkyard wench? I mean, that's pretty.
She wears panties and a bra that's accurate. Way too big for her.
The panties are way too big for her, too.
And you know what? Like, if you're going to make a movie about people that are filthy, dirty, covered in grossness, and don't take baths and shit like that, at least go the extra mile and make their teeth look gross, because everyone in this movie has perfect, beautiful, pearly white teeth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are right about that.
Unsurprisingly, the producers were unsuccessful in getting product sponsorship for the film. The only company that was interested was the manufacturer of Drake's Cakes, which would send the cast and crew a box of snacks every week.
Oh, that's nice.
By the end of the 3-month shoot, everyone had eaten enough of the snacks, and when it came time to make the scene where the fat bum explodes, that's toward the end of the movie, the fake stomach was filled with boxes and boxes of Drake's Cakes. They used it as part of the gag.
So the cop's gonna die here.
Yeah, we've got the showdown between the cop and Bronson, which ends the cop's storyline.
And it's so weird because you're just like, what was the point of the cop in the movie?
Yeah, there was no...
What was the point?
No point.
I mean, we've been following this cop around for not the whole movie, but closer to the beginning than a few other plot lines.
Yeah.
And we've been following him around, and they're the only one who they bothered to even give a backstory to. They explained something about like where he worked before and getting transferred here and him not following the rules and whatever, which would explain the puking on people, I guess. And maybe he has like an anger management problem, or I don't know what it is, but they actually, and we pee on a corpse here.
Oh, right.
But so they actually give the cop a backstory, and we have multiple scenes with him, and then we just kill him. And it's just like, I'm not even sure what he was looking for. Was he looking for the mafia guy's girlfriend? Was he trying to follow around the Viper stuff, or was he trying to find Bronson? I guess he was trying to find Bronson because he said his name a lot, and that was because Bronson beat that guy's head in at the car wash. I guess.
I think we just missed the greatest line in maybe any movie ever.
Oh, yeah?
Fred walks in, points at the liquor store clerk, the Francis Ford Coppola-looking motherfucker, and he says, "Fuck you, give me a bottle of booze, here's my $1, suck my dick." Screenwriting 101, folks.
And then the liquor guy responds with, "Here's your booze, suck your own dick." Fuck you. Give me a bottle of booze. And it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. It's a little bit funny.
Fuck you. Give me a bottle
like, that's how you walk up to someone at a store and ask for something, is starting with, fuck you.
Fuck you. Where's the mayonnaise?
Fuck you. Give me some mayonnaise. Here's my $1.50. Now mayonnaise costs $1.50.
Only the good stuff. So we are finally at the point in the movie where
Viper is back.
Viper's back. He walks in, says, "Fuck you, give me a bottle of booze." We got Viper back in the movie, and this movie becomes watchable again.
Right. So this is a really great scene where we've got the two homeless dudes on either side of this big junk barrier, and Fred is one of them. And Fred, who I guess is our protagonist or is close to it, as
we start
the
movie with him,
right?
Yeah.
He's about to drink Viper, and we've seen him many times be about to drink Viper, but then it gets stolen or something happens, whatever. And he's about to drink Viper, and on the other side, this other homeless guy is about to drink Viper, and does. And we're watching him convulse. He's doing some good body acting here, I think, with the convulsing.
Yeah. So we've got a very, very Monty Python-esque death here, I would say. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's what it made me think of. Is the
great
the
exploding
restaurant
man
skit? Yeah, just 1 mint or whatever. And here it's Viper, and it puffs out this guy, and he explodes. That's beautiful.
Lovely.
That is fantastic. And slow-mo explosion.
Not bad.
He does get a lot of it dripped on him there with no consequence, though, so they're not really following the rules.
That's true. Oh, well, no, look, no, he's saying ow.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a...
Good.
Logic.
Some
There's
consistency.
consistency to the movie's rules. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, no, that explosion was fantastic. It was beautiful.
I think that if you want to make a movie around surrounding Viper, with that as kind of the main thrust of the movie, I think the worst thing the movie could do is what it did, and that's just abandon the plot until the very end of the movie. I think you should have had more of a focus on Fred trying to scrounge up $1 to buy another bottle of Viper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should have been the whole thing. Like, I know he
It's
tries a little bit,
right,
but
he
doesn't really try.
Right, he gets a bottle in the beginning, and it gets stolen, and we see what it does to the person who stole it, and then he spends the rest of the movie trying to get that money together. Meanwhile, other people are getting bottles of Viper, and maybe he just narrowly misses a chance to drink it, and he's depressed and blah blah blah, and he's trying to get his money together, gets his money stolen. It's kind of a comedy of errors, so to speak. And we watch all of these other people become victims of this terrible liquor substance, this toxic, nasty shit. While he's doing everything he can to get his hands on some because he doesn't realize what it is. And then he finally gets his hands on some at the end, and this is where we pick up, and he sees what it's actually doing.
And tries to give it to his enemy, which is what he did here, is he tried to give it to this guy. But his friend came up to help him. I forget, what's his friend's name? The guy who put chicken in his pants.
Bert? Is it Bert, maybe?
I don't know. I don't remember. I thought you called him something else at the beginning. But yeah, so Bert tries to help him, which of course he's like, no, because he doesn't want to be helped, because he wants the other dude to steal his alcohol so that he can watch him die, which is really awful. But yeah,
so
it results in a great
we've
scene.
got Wizzy drinking this, and now Wizzy's going to die.
Is this the best death? Which is the best Viper death? The toilet one at the beginning.
The toilet
one's
really good. The first one's really good. This one's really good too.
Yeah, this is a great death here too, where he drinks the Viper and he's gonna just melt into the wall. Pretty much is what happens.
He's puking and shit.
And it's so colorful. Like, that's the thing I love about the deaths in this movie, is that
they're all in primary colors, and purple and
orange.
Look at that.
Oh,
digging into his chest.
Digging into the chest is fantastic.
It's good shit.
They're really colorful. Like, the goo that comes out of them is super colorful, and that's really fun.
Had the movie, and so we just came off of a Viper death, we're right into another one. Had the movie had even remotely like this, like close to this frequency of gory deaths, this would be a very, very fun watch.
Oh yeah.
But as it stands, it's not. This movie's barely watchable.
Just lovely right there, and he just slurps into a pile.
This is a part of a subgenre of horror films called melt movies.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing to say, melt movies?
Yeah, melt movies.
Huh. What's another melt movie?
I don't know what would count because I haven't looked at a list. I mean, just think of another movie where it has melting
where people
effect.
sort of melt.
The Wizard of Oz. I don't know. I'm sure like a lot of the trauma movies. I'm sure that like the Toxic Avenger
anything
movies,
where people are spraying acid on other people.
Yeah, the Toxic Avenger movies probably count as melt movies.
The slime or the stuff. The stuff.
Yeah, the stuff probably counts. Yeah, maybe the Blob. The newer Blob movies where like the Blob is also like acidic or something.
I don't know if I've seen the newer Blob movies.
Isn't there a newer Blob that like the one they made one
maybe.
They made one in the 80s where the Blob is like acidic?
Probably.
Oh, look, and here's another one.
Oh,
Did we miss the
this is
fancy
good, too.
camera work? There's this fancy like camera flip move that they do.
Oh,
yeah,
here
this
it is.
right here.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary, but I mean talking about a movie made by a camera operator, so he's going to do some funky shit.
Yeah, he does a cool little flip thing there. Cool. I don't know if that's the right word. But yeah, so this one's the very, very basic melting death, but still a death by viper.
Apparently, Bryan Singer. Have we done any Bryan Singer movie? Oh, we just did one. Superman Returns.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Superman Returns. He was a production assistant on this movie.
Really?
Yeah. Little baby Bryan Singer was a PA on this piece of shit.
Here's Bronson burying the cop under stones and carving a new knife bone out of, we can presume, the cop's
bone, probably.
More flashbacks to probably Vietnam.
Yeah. Let's see. So this movie, let's talk about the history of this movie a little bit. We're getting close to the end and running out of things to talk about, of course. This movie was given a limited release theatrically in the United States.
Oh, there's him cutting off the person's leg to make his bone.
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
Gross. So this was a theatrical film in America, but it was limited, and it was distributed by Lightning Pictures in June of 1987, and they also released this movie on VHS later that same year. And then in 2005, Synapse Films marketed an all-new digitally remastered version of the film. And like I said before, included with the DVD version of the movie, there were labels for the Tenafly Viper stuff. And then in 2006, there was a second release by Synapse Films featuring the documentary. There is a documentary called Meltdown Memoirs. And the documentary is by the screenwriter, Roy Frumkus. It also has interviews with most of the surviving cast and crew. Does that imply that they died making the movie? Interviews with most of the surviving cast and crew, with the exception of Jane Arakawa, who plays Wendy. And it actually also contains the original 16mm short version of Street Trash. So all that stuff is on at least the second DVD release, and I imagine that it would have made it over to the Blu-ray. And I know the Blu-ray also comes with the stickers. So that might, and this is a weird case in which I would probably buy the Blu-ray for everything except the movie.
Yeah, right? Because why would you watch this again?
I wouldn't, but I kind of want to know how they did some of the effects. Mm-hmm. I want to know what it was like to make a movie like this, and I want that fucking Tenafly Viper label.
Right.
But so, I would want it to be accurate. I would need a dark liquor in a green glass in that shape. Yeah. What are they called? They're called like pocket bottles or something with a red cap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's essential.
It has to be specifically that. And then here we get another Viper death.
They're coming back to back now.
She's gonna drink some Viper here. The girl who is Bronson's
Stephanie,
girl.
I think her name is Stephanie. Is that right?
And this is a fun one too. Her boobs start spraying the ooze. She's ripping off her boobs and stuff.
Oh God. It's so cool. And the
nice.
pus. Oh,
her
the pus
hand
coming
like
out.
Going inside her boob.
Oh Jesus.
Pretty fantastic.
It's really nasty. See how joyful this is? See, this is how you do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just ditch the fucking gang rape and shit. Like, the movie doesn't need that stuff.
That's great right there. Great. Rubbery and gross.
Pretty awesome.
And then, but we're gonna. Oh man, look at that shot. That's awesome. Her just melted up.
That was a great shot. I think I'll probably use that when I post this.
And then here we've got this weird gonna go have sex scene where we just saw he's not a little boy, but the younger brother having a conversation with Wendy and then sticking his hand up her skirt.
Right. He's supposed to be younger than I think he appears to be. That's what I think the movie is going for. But man, this poor woman. I feel sorry for the actresses in this movie that wanted to. Were probably out in LA just trying to make a career, and this is what they got cast in. And it's like, I mean, you go to the IMDb page for Street Trash.
His expression when he sees her boobs, he's like, what?
Well, boobies. Breasticles. I like your chesticles, lady. You just go to the IMDb page for Street Trash and look at the cast, and not a single one of the main cast members has a portrait on IMDb, which is like your first clue that they haven't done a whole lot with their career. Mm-hmm. You have to scroll down until you see the doorman, played by James Lawrence, before you see a picture.
And what else was he in?
Frankenhooker.
Oh, that's right.
And then after that, you've got someone named Colin DeRuin who plays Concerned Businessman or something like that. Like, there are a grand total of like four, five, six, half a dozen out of all the people that are cast in this movie. And again, the cast is way too big. There are only like half a dozen portraits on IMDb, which goes to show that you don't come away from a movie like this and expect a career to come out of it. I mean, you might have one, but our director, Jim Murrow, he has had a career, of course, in Steadicam operation, camera operation. Like we said, he's been working up until as recently as I think last year. Actually, he was in something, or he worked on something, and I think that he's actually doing something next year. Actually, yeah, he's got something this year. He was a Steadicam operator for a movie called The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea. Before that, he worked on a movie in 2012, 2010, 2007. He was an uncredited Steadicam operator for Rush Hour 3. Second unit director of photography for Miami Vice. So he's worked, like he's had a career, but this is the only feature-length film that he's ever directed. And aside from that, he's managed to direct like a couple episodes here and there of TV, but he didn't actually get behind the camera as a director after this. So this was 1987, of course. He didn't get behind the camera as a director again until 2013, and he directed one episode of a TV show called Shameless. Did 7 episodes of a TV show called Southland, 2 of The Red Road, 1 of The Brink, 7 of Longmire, 1 episode of Wicked City, and apparently he's directing 1 episode of the Rush Hour TV show that they're producing right now.
The Rush Hour TV show?
Yes, that's a thing. Apparently. I don't know when it comes out. It's supposed to start this year.
Man, this segment is so stupid and I don't care. Bronson is just chasing the younger brother. If you don't have the joy of watching this film with us, if you don't have access to Street Trash,
if you don't have the privilege of watching Street Trash along with us, Bronson, the Vietnam vet, is chasing around the younger brother because
he was going to have sex with Wendy.
Well, Bronson's whole emotional thrust in this movie, besides having obvious PTSD and being like just a violent person and an abuser of women, an abuser of all humans that he comes in contact with, a murderer, just a terrible person in general. He also has feelings for Wendy, which, if he is such a terrible person that rapes and kills unapologetically, why hasn't he done anything to Wendy until now?
Yeah, I don't know. But he hated Fred too, and I don't remember why. Why did he hate Fred? Fred owed him money. They started that whole thing off where they talked about Fred owing him money. And remember in the very beginning, Fred stole some money from Wheezy or something like that? Maybe, yeah. And that's where Bronson came into the movie. I don't know. And I'm just like, why does he need money? Why does anybody owing him money matter? Because he lives in the junkyard? Are they paying, some sort of rent or something to him, protection money, or you have to pay a toll to live here? I don't know. They don't explain. It doesn't matter, I guess. Who really cares? But he's after Fred in this movie for no reason, and then he's after the younger brother for no reason.
I like how he clearly threw a bottle of Tenafly Viper at him, and then when it breaks on his neck, it's like some kind of pottery, like clearly a softer, breakable material, because it like explodes and dust comes out, and it's obviously kind of chalky.
I feel like there should have been more damage there from the Viper being thrown.
Now, the real damage gets done when you drink it. But yeah, and then like, you know, we're getting to the end of the movie here.
Thank God.
And I have to say, the final death is
pretty awesome.
Pretty fucking awesome.
It's not really the final death, though.
It's not
the final death we don't even see.
The final on-screen death, because apparently we need another scene with the doorman and the mafioso, so fuck it.
So right here, though, this is great. So Bronson and Fred are at it, and they're fighting, and the younger brother has fallen into a tire pit where he has an air tank at his disposal, and he's just gonna rocket it off because science, I guess.
Because he has a degree in physics, and that's a plot point they forgot to let us know about, but that would have helped a lot in believing. Not that we need to believe.
Oh, fantastic! That's just great.
I love that. So the head that comes down. Watch this. It's like out of the focal range,
but it's
fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
that shot right there was unbelievable.
Where the head. So what happens is the air tank like rockets right into Bronson's head. It's sort of like just
into
below
his chest.
Yeah, into his chest, and it takes his head off and leaves, you know,
like this gaping cavity, like this valley of
his shoulders
gore
and stuff
between his shoulders, and it's all in slow motion, and you see just like him standing there, just kind of waist up, and this valley of gore, and then in the background, out of focus, because of course it's out of focal range, you see his head kind of drop down between
into the spot where it would have been,
right?
If it had landed back on the body. It's
right,
very
but
nice.
It falls down behind him. It's a great shot. Again, this is a very well made movie. I think, like as far as like technically, it's well made. Narratively leaves a lot to be desired. Performance wise, lot to be desired, and and that's it.
Yeah, and then we've got this little. So we got our title, and while they were running around, Bronson screamed, "You little street trash!" at some point. So we did get
a titular line.
Got our line in there, and then here we saw the title card, but then we have this little gift of a epilogue,
gifts from heaven,
where we've got the restaurant mafia guy and the doorman guy, and the doorman guy is tied up, and they're probably improvising again and
definitely
just
are
saying some stupid pointless stuff that doesn't matter. But the mafia
that credit there, special makeup artist Mike Lackey. Special means dick maker. that's what that means.
But so they just talk, and the mafia guy's going to reach into his pocket and find a bottle of Viper, and then he's going to drink it.
And die off screen.
Such a waste.
Did
they run out of money? Did they film this later and they were just like, oh, we should do one more scene with them at the end? No, you shouldn't. You should have left it on the cool death scene. But yeah, so I have nothing else to say about this movie.
This was a mistake.
It was a mistake, and it's totally your fault.
It is totally my fault, but I just from reading about the movie, I just assumed it would be kind of perfect to do on the show, but there's just not a whole lot to talk about in the movie except for how bad it is.
Yeah.
And how good very specific things about the movie are. Because it really excels at very specific things that we've gone into great detail about. But overall, I think it's kind of a failure. And it's not really fun to watch. That's my biggest problem is for most of this movie, you can fast forward through most of this movie.
I think it's totally worth it if you're into horror and you like good practical effects gore, then definitely get this and just fast forward to the death scenes and you know, catch the Viper death scenes is what I really mean.
And the problem is that because
they're great.
They simply don't happen frequently enough to warrant watching this movie top to bottom.
Yeah.
You fast forward to the good parts. Seriously.
At the beginning and at the end. And the rest of it's just honestly not worth it. It's honestly just boring.
Yeah.
And tedious to get through.
And mean.
And mean. But it's over now. Thank God.
I guess if you don't have anything else to say, I thought I was going to love this movie, and I don't. I just don't. But we've gone into detail about why that is, and I guess that's it. Do you have any final thoughts on Street Trash?
No, I just don't want to watch it again.
Okay.
That's my final thought on Street Trash.
All right, then. We'll get the Blu-ray, though.
Well, for the sticker.
For the sticker, and we'll post the our creation of our own bottle of Tenafly Viper on our social media whenever that happens, but it probably won't be anytime soon. Anyway, that'll bring us to the end of another episode of the Popcorn Poops podcast. As always, you can find us on our website at popcornpoops.com. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes and Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter at Popcorn Poops, and individually, I am at Dusty Cram Cram, and
I'm at J. Casper Kramer.
You can also like our Facebook page, and our social media is the best place to follow the show and keep up with announcements and all that good stuff, and to participate in our weekly movie still identification game, which again is a whole lot of fun. No one guessed this movie this week, like I said, but that's a good thing. So
right, yeah.
So good job for not being intimately familiar with Street Trash.
No, good job. That's good for you.
You can also shop on our website for merchandise branded with Popcorn Poops if you want to show your poop pride and tell the world that you are one of our pooplings. You can also donate to the show. There's a button on the website. And if you want to receive a free audiobook, you can go to audibletrial.com/popcornpoops and sign up for a free subscription. And that's a 30-day trial. And once that subscription goes up, then you can still keep that audiobook that you got for free forever.
Isn't that so exciting?
No strings whatsoever. So go do that. We also like to highlight a friend of the show every single week. And this week we would like to bring your attention to Cinematic Randomness, which is a website, and you can find them at cinematicrandomness.com. If you are a podcast or webcomic artist or YouTuber or any kind of online content creator, and you're interested in becoming one of our poo pals and getting shout outs on the show and on social media, please contact us through Facebook, Twitter, or email us at contact@popcornpoops.com. Next week, we're still in #1987 month. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we are watching a much better film that I really, really love.
This is one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorite movies. Next week, we are watching Tibor Takacs's 1987 film, The Gate.
Excellent. Awesome. I knew that we would do an actual horror movie at some point. I guess this counts kind of. Kind of. We're doing an actual horror movie, and I'm very excited about that. So I guess that's all for this week. So until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.
We are the Popcorn